regular start and serve as temporary chairman while the school committee reorganizes, which is their standard operating procedure after the annual town election each May. So we'll start off with our Pledge of Allegiance. We'll start with reading our mission statement. The Danvers Public Schools is a dynamic community of independent learners dedicated to respect, responsibility, and the pursuit of academic and personal excellence. Tonight's meeting is being recorded by DCAT. Is there anybody else in the audience who's recording the meeting? I do not see anybody. Oh, you are? Okay. Perfect. Record your sister. Perfect. Thank you. Not your sister. You're going to record off. Okay. Thank you. That works. The next order of business is to accept nominations for who will be the next chair of the committee. We'll look for a motion from the committee to nominate.
You're the current chair, so I address you as current chair.
Yeah.
Chairman, I'd like to nominate Eric Crane for chair for school committee.
We have a second.
Second.
Discussion amongst the committee. Okay, no discussion. We'll take a vote. Mr. Crane, do you accept the nomination to be chair of the committee? Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you all.
So now we'll look for a vote. Okay, sorry. Thank you. I'm like, say aye. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? None. So the vote carries 5-0. So, Mr. Chairman, I'll turn it over to you to nominate or to look for nominations for you. I'm good to turn it over to you to look for nominations for secretary of the committee.
Thank you all, and I appreciate the confidence. And I also want to welcome our new member, Dave Loeb. Welcome aboard. We look forward to working with you. So at this point, I will in fact accept motions to appoint our next secretary of the school committee.
I'll motion to appoint Robin Doherty as the secretary.
Okay. And actually, nominations for the officers' positions don't require seconds. But are there any other nominations? Hearing none. All those in favor of Robin Doherty as secretary, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Carries. Here you go. Now you guys have to switch seats.
Thank you.
It's the next to you, Mr. Crane. The next year.
That's not always, yeah, let me put it this way, I'm probably luckier than you are. If we start throwing things, you'll be in the line of fire.
Oh, great.
All right, so our next order of business. Let's see, organized, okay. Okay, first, the school committee will appoint a school attorney. In the past, it has been the firm of Long and Long, Roseanne DePietro being our lead attorney. Is there a motion to reappoint or any sort of different direction?
Motion to reappoint Petro as school attorney.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? So that would be Long and Long and Roseanne DePietro as lead attorney. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Carries. All right. Let's see. We're going to request the co-acting superintendents to check the insurance, liability insurance, and Does the second Monday of the month work for everybody for our meeting? Because technically we set that date this week. Okay, and of course, if necessary, we do change. And we need to authorize a primary and secondary signatory on the bill sheets. And I think Arthur's been doing that for years. But so, Gabe, how would you like to do that? What it means is basically going down to the superintendent's office once a week. Would you say, Keith?
Probably once a week.
Once a week, and literally just signing invoices, making sure that they're appropriate, be paid, et cetera. But it's a good chance to get a feel for what the budget is like in the inner workings. So it doesn't take a lot of time. And as a secondary signatory, I'll take that myself. So if you can't do it and you need it done, I'll be happy to do it.
And we're going to work with Mr. Sullivan. He doesn't know it yet because it's on my list from today. But to move that to DocuSign. So hopefully we'll be able to just send it to you. It's been on this for a while. But we're going to really try
Even
to get
better. There you go.
Take the burden off a little bit.
All right. Now, in terms of subcommittees, I don't anticipate adding any particular subcommittees. And so what I'd like you to do is, if you would, just email me sometime during the next month, indicate which subcommittees you'd like to work on, and any that you really, really don't want to try and match those up so everybody's happy with the way it goes up. So, all right. So now, let's see, items of interest. Superintendents.
Give a quick update. We're working on through the HR manager interview process. Those interviews will be taking place tomorrow for a first round, and then looking to move finalists along hopefully later this week or early next week. And then we continue to look at the pool of business manager candidates. What that was. So on that in June meeting.
And we also wanted to say a huge thank you to our teachers and staff. Last week was Teacher Appreciation Week, so we want to thank them for really successful year this year. As we started this year, we thought we were coming back as a normal school year, and we found that there were a lot more challenges or new challenges that we hadn't, imagined. And coming into this school year, it's been, a stressful year for many of us, but the teachers, but we thank them for all their hard work and perseverance to ensure that every student feels a sense of belonging and really is getting quality education.
We had initially, I think, we're going to have an item of interest regarding post-graduation plans for DHS class of 2022. But we've talked about Adam coming to the June meeting because we'll have a really better sense of how everything falls out for our students. But we think people will be pleased at the progress our students have made and the colleges they're going to. And it should be an exciting time. Any items from the school committee? Items of interest?
Mr. Crane, I have a question. You don't have the superintendent search subcommittee liaison on here. I don't know if you want me to address it now or if you want to wait till the subcommittee.
We were actually going to have it during the subcommittee.
Okay.
I don't know how it can get on there. Maybe, you know what, maybe we can actually add it to, there's a discussion under when we talk about the reorganization of the, under new business, maybe we can talk about that.
Perfect.
It should have its own,
Okay.
should have its own little highlight.
Yes, thank you.
We will make sure we have that added.
It was there.
It was there, and now it's gone
Not there anymore.
as we work through the different programs.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, and any items of interest from the community? No hands. You're all interested in what the kids are going to be doing. Oh, you do? I'm sorry, please.
Hi, Amy Weeks. I have two boys in the district, and I just wanted to comment in reference to two things that were brought up at the last meeting. I know there was a comment about the people leaving or the students leaving the district, and I totally understand some of people's responses to that. I know it's something hard to hear, but I just was wondering if having some type of like exit interview would be helpful to gather information from people who are leaving our district as to the reasons why. Maybe they're not bad, or maybe if they are negative, it's good information to get back. It was just a thought. And the other thing I wanted to mention, I know, I believe it was Lynn O'Neill who spoke at the last meeting. She was talking about co-taught classrooms. I think parents in the community are really excited about that thought. I'm a school teacher. I've been a school teacher going on about 17 years. I teach in Middleton currently, and in the building that I'm in, we have one co-taught classroom in every grade. And I know Middleton looks a little different than Danvers. I know that we have less schools, but I do know that other districts are doing that. They're doing it in different ways. They might look at their student population, and they may pocket their kids in certain schools based on needs and based on budgets. And sometimes larger districts will have co-taught classrooms in one school. I know, Mr. K, you were asking about it last week, so I just thought I'd give you a little insight on that. But that's all I want. Thank you.
Thank you. Those are
Yep.
items we can certainly talk about at future meetings. Thank you. Anyone else? I think Ted, you're up, sir, if you want. Yeah. Ted Blake from our Finance Committee.
Good evening, everybody. For those of you guys who don't know me, I'm Ted Blake. I'm a member of the Finance Committee. I apologize for my hat here. I just got off the baseball diamond about 5 minutes ago. But there were two things I wanted to sort of bring to your attention / propose. Just that came up in the process of the budget discussions we've had in the last couple months. The first one is fairly straightforward. Obviously, there's been a lot of talk about Essex Tech and Danvers High and what we can do to attract more kids and to retain them in our district. And one of the more obvious things that I think we need to do is address the inequity in fees and extracurricular fees between the two districts. I don't have it in stone, but I believe that there are no busing fees at Essex Tech, and I believe that every sport is a flat $100 fee. In our district, I think there are some athletic programs that cost close to $300 for a student to participate. And I'm not sure what the busing fees are. And that's really it. I think from two levers, the lever of wanting to do everything we can to make kids want to stay in Danvers Public Schools is the obvious first and foremost justification, but also equity. Everybody with kids in our town pays the same taxes based on the value of their home. Folks that send their kids to Danvers High are sending their kids to a school that frankly costs less for us to educate them than it does at Essex Tech. I don't think it's fair for them to have to pay more for athletic fees than the folks that end up over at Essex Tech. So that's sort of where I'm coming from. I know we just had the budget and passed it, but I do think there is room for us to address it before the next school year. From what I understand, Keith, maybe you can verify or refute what I'm about to say, but I think generally speaking, you guys run a small surplus every year that probably isn't that different in magnitude from what it would cost to lower fees for this school year. And then secondarily, like all the other departments in town, occasionally we have to journal money from one department to the other at the end of the year to make budget. I think if you look at the warrant articles next week, there's a few measures to do just that, to cover overruns in some areas and savings in others. And as a member of the Finance Committee, I could obviously tell you I personally would be very favorably disposed to a budget overrun from the public schools for this if it was used for this purpose, and I'm pretty sure a majority of my peers would as well. So I'll stop there and let you guys comment, do whatever.
At items of interest, we typically don't make a decision.
Yeah, that's fine.
We would try and consider moving this ahead to another agenda to talk about.
Okay.
I think that obviously the question is what the impact on the budget would be, and the business manager would be the best person to talk to. I wouldn't put him on the spot tonight. So, but it's something we can certainly put on items to consider and talk about at a future meeting. And so, yeah, we'll come back to that item. Absolutely.
Okay. And then the second one is a little more complicated. Just looking at the budget and the projected classroom size enrollment at the various elementary schools, it just sort of popped to my attention that in some grades there's classrooms with as many as 24 kids in the same grade level as other classrooms in the district, where there's some classes as low as 15 or 16. And I asked Keith at our meeting, what happens if a parent volunteers and says, hey, I see there's like a ton of kids in the class of my grade, and down the street at the other school, if there's 5 less kids per grade, I'd volunteer to send my kid there. And right now we don't allow that, is my understanding. It seems to me like it's sort of low hanging fruit, and it's a good way for people to let people know that we're trying to maximize every resource we have in district to give people the best education they can. And would be to allow people to, like, the high level, my idea would be to kind of right now, after we've got the budget and staffing done for the next year, and we have an idea of what we think classroom sizes will be across the district, to give parents a window of 4 to 6 weeks to raise their hand and say, hey, I'd be willing to transfer my student to the other school. I'll give it under the following parameters, and, ballpark, I would say you would probably want to set it so that if there's a disparity in classroom size of 3 or greater, somebody can raise their hand. And if more, and we'd have to think through all the iterations, like, okay, if then, it's kind of like a computer program, but to do it fairly. But I think it would help, especially right now when we're in the process of zones are a little bit more amoeba-like than they have been in the past, because Smith School's growing and we have a much bigger school there. I think it would help just be a good way to ensure that every kid in the school system has access to the same level of attention. Because I know, like, 22 kids versus 16 kids, just coaching anything is a massive difference. I can't imagine what it's like 6 hours a day. That's a pretty big difference. So that's really it. But the idea would be essentially that, you'd never overswing it. You'd need a material difference so that you'd probably never get it. So if there's a little more inflow at the school, you're not ended up penalizing that school or whatever. But I feel like there should be some sort of solution that could offer people flexibility if classroom size is important to them. That's it.
Again, I think this is in concept. I think the idea is one that could make sense under certain circumstances. I think really just, I think the logistics would be an interesting thing to work through. And you get into issues of, if a student goes to a school, if you transfer a student or allow a student to pick a school that they normally wouldn't go to, you allow that student to stay even if in future years the numbers get higher at that school. What commitments do you make that way? If parents are going to provide their own transportation, then they get into issues of equity, like, is it only available then to parents who have the ability to transport their own students? So it's one of those things that's conceptually very worth talking about, at least to me, but I think it would take a while to work out the logistics of it. But again, something we should talk about, nothing negative about it. At least talking about it and seeing whether something like that could work. Others, comments?
Yeah, I think the big thing would be, it is an equity issue if you have a kid who has, you have 15 in a class and then 24 across, the town. And but I agree, we do need to make sure that kids can get there. So we can also reach out to other districts that there's more of like a choice where you go within the district, and how do they deal with those equity issues, because I definitely think we should be maximizing our resources to the best ability that we can.
I don't disagree.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Yeah, we can put it on a future agenda. And again, I don't think it's workable for this school year, because I think assignments are probably just about being made, and I wouldn't want to you got to get this right.
No, I agree. I agree. It's like, yeah,
I think it would be a good item to work through the policy subcommittee because we
Yeah.
do have the attendance area
Yeah.
policy.
Yep.
So it would be amending that policy.
Okay.
So I think I heard Robin volunteer to be on the policy subcommittee going forward.
If I can take, if Mr. Blake is going to come and be part of it too, if he
I
can
will.
be the
I'll come.
community person,
no, I'll show up. No problem.
But yeah, I think
because I'm not a number person. Okay, so
no, you've put ideas on the table, definitely worth talking about. We appreciate that.
So thanks very much.
Thanks for coming down. All right. Fires back up. All right. Information from the student representative. Hello.
Hi. Hi, everyone. I'm Reese McDonald. I'm a junior at Danvers High, and I'm one of two student representatives. Lil Montevecchi is not here tonight. They're studying for a AP exam, so I'm here. So I just have two quick updates. The school's musical, Seussical, opening night is May 26th at 7 p.m. It's really fun. If you want to bring your kids, it's Dr. Seuss, super fun. And Danvers Marching Band performed in the Apple Blossom Firefighters Parade in Washington, D.C., and their color guard and drum majors placed first place along with overall band, and they also won Best Band in the festival. So big win for Danvers Band.
So I think we just want to take a moment to thank Reese and for their participation this year as our student reps, and I believe I think they know that they're going to come back next year.
Yes, yes.
Wanted to make sure we communicate that. But thank you for all of your work this
Your contributions above and beyond the information report. That means
Thank you. And let's see, we are moving on to information from the superintendents.
Sure. So we're happy to welcome Ms. Powers and the Smith School team and students here tonight so that they can talk about the mural project they did, embracing the old, the new, and the future. And we would like to, I think Ms. Powers will extend an invite to everybody here, but we'll be doing a grand unveiling. Okay, we're going to talk about that during their presentation. So come on up.
Good evening. For the last couple of months, it has been amazing to listen to what our elementary schools are doing around social emotional learning, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Tonight, we are going to present to you something similar, but we are expressing it through art.
Oi, meu nome é Pedro, eu sou aluno do Jardim de Infância. Vamos contar tudo sobre o nosso projeto especial. Tratamos uma artista incrível. O nome dela é Miss Yeti.
Hi, my name is Holly Murphy. I'm an English as a second language teacher, and Pedro just wanted to welcome you. He said, I am a kindergartner at Smith School. We are going to tell you all about a special project that we participated in, and we hired an incredible artist, and her name is Miss Yeti.
Hello, my name is Mia and I am a first grader. Miss Yeti is an artist. She couldn't wait to do art with us. In January, she came to our Bulldog gathering. Miss Yeti showed us some of her artwork. Her art is everywhere, and it is amazing. She knows what she's doing. We loved working with Miss Yeti.
Hello, my name is Amy Grabario, and I am the art teacher at Smith. As a staff, we came together and decided the theme for our mural was our Smith School mantra, Bulldog Brave. We had a challenge, how to show abstract concepts in pictures. For example, we know what it feels like to believe in ourselves, but what does that actually look like in a drawing? What does respect look like in a picture? Whenever you have a difficult issue, you should ask kids because they seem to always have the answers. So that's just what we did.
Hello, my name is Lewis and I am a fourth grader. In the beginning, we had to draw sketches for ideas. Not all of the drawings got on the mural. Some sketches had to be slightly tweaked. We talked a lot about Bulldog Brave. B. Believe you can. R. Respect yourself and others. A. Accept your challenges, your strengths. Ideas, relationships, and friendships. E. Engage and show effort in all that you can do. Each class had a letter they focused on.
Hi, my name is Max and I'm a second grader. During the painting days, we didn't have much time to do it in one day. But since we worked together, we got the mural done in just a few days. We worked with Miss Gerberry and Miss Yeti in the steam. We all painted something and all felt included. This made it special and fun. Hi, my name is Aubrey and I'm a third grader. On Sunday, March 5th, we had Miss Yeti come over to Community Painting Day. On this day, kids came with their family to paint the mural. Me and my mom painted a chalkboard. Working together on this day brought all of us closer and helped us bond on this special project. We all had a part in this mural and had fun. Hello, my name is Ava and I'm a fifth grader. We decided to title the mural Together We Are. This represents Smith School because together we are special, together we are kind and helpful to each other. We are also mathematicians, musicians, athletes, and scientists. We are different races and colors. Some of us wear glasses, some of us use a wheelchair. It's okay to be different. Being different makes the world connected and colorful. Our next big event will be on May 25th at 8:45 in the morning, where we will unveil our Together We Are mural with the community's help. We hope you will join us to celebrate what school is all about, being kind, respectful, hardworking, and diverse.
This project couldn't have been accomplished without the support and help from the following people we want to thank. Smith School community, students, family, staff, Miss Yeti Frankel, Miss Gerberio, Massachusetts Cultural Council, Smith School PAC, Danvers Public Schools. Thank you. Do you have any questions for us?
Comments and questions from the committee?
I have a comment.
Oh.
Hi guys. So I also went to Smith School. I'm a Smith alum. And I was there when we made the mural that's currently there. And I just remember it being like super fun and being so proud of it. So I want to make sure like you guys know that you should be so extremely proud of this, of like everything you accomplished, and that you're pushing social emotional learning because it's so important all throughout middle school and high school. So you guys should be extremely proud of yourselves.
Yeah. Please come to the.
I think we could work with Mr. Federico to make that happen.
Any other questions?
Yes.
My family was there. We're Bulldogs, so it was nice to have a sixth grade alum come and paint as well. So I do appreciate you opening it up to the community. So it did feel good to be part of it. And I look very much forward to the unveiling. And nice job, everyone, for presenting. You guys should be proud of yourselves. You did all an amazing job.
Ms. Rivero even managed to let my 4-year-old help paint that day.
Yeah.
So they really made sure everybody could be included.
Inclusive.
Okay.
Anyone else?
I would just highlight this is a project that's been 2+ years in the work with COVID. So we're very excited that it'll be placed on the very front of the Smith School. So from beginning of our design, we had a special spot on the school so that it could be front and center. And then the original mural that was hanging on the old Smith School is hanging on the playground side of the building. So we're able to preserve that past history of the mural that other students did, as well as celebrate the current students.
I'm sure Mrs. Powers and your teachers are really, really proud of you, and probably bursting with pride over this accomplishment. You guys were so good tonight. So thank you, and we look forward to seeing you at the unveil.
Thank you. Could I just thank Miss Powers too?
Yes.
No, I mean, it's a tremendous amount of energy that you've brought to the Smith School community over just the one short year you've been there. And I want to let you know like how much we appreciate and we see it. And we're happy you're our principal. Thank you. Oh,
Good night, kids. You guys did great.
Oh my God. I know.
We're complimenting you over here.
Like I want to
Energy. Can we bottle?
bottle her up and just take her with me everywhere.
That's not creepy at all.
Well, she helped at the Smith School
I know.
fair,
It's amazing.
holiday
Yeah.
fair.
So next we'll invite Mr. Sullivan up to give us a technology update.
Tall to stand on the screen. But
That will fold up.
I'm almost getting motion sick. Can everyone still see me okay? Good evening, everyone. Jim Sullivan, Director of Technology for Danvers Public Schools. Thanks for having me today. I was just going to provide a quick update on what we've been doing this year, some of the updates and some of the things which I think we're doing good things, and I could share those with you. And I was going to originally take about an hour, but I've cut that down to about 7 minutes. So just real quick, the purpose, the mission of our technology department, first and foremost, is support teaching and learning. That's why we're here. We're here to support teachers. We're here to help the students and give them what they need in order to succeed. We're also here to support and ensure safety and security, whether that's physical safety and security, but also the safety and the privacy of students and their information online, including digital citizenship and the education as well that goes along with that. We work very closely with the town IT department, who provides the infrastructure where they maintain the wires and the cords and the switches and everything behind the curtain, and then we work with them to ensure that we have the ability and the access to provide everybody, the students, with the access they need and our softwares and services, all of that fun stuff. Colby is the town IT director. I think we have a great relationship, which actually makes this a great partnership between the town and the schools. One of the updates is we'll talk about Chromebooks. So this year was the first official year of a one-to-one Chromebook initiative for grades K through 12, and it's an initiative that was started during COVID out of necessity, and we were able to provide as many devices and support as many students as we could. This year, we're fortunate we have enough devices, and we have good devices to be able to hand out to students to provide everyone with a device to support their learning needs. the initiative started with the high schoolers last year. They were supposed to get their devices in September. With all of the shortages of everything, the devices finally arrived in April, just in time, practically to the minute to be able to do MCAS and AP testing. But they were able to pull that off, which was great. As part of that, last year with some of the CARES Act money, we were also able to buy Chromebooks for some of the elementary students as well. So we were able to get about 600 more devices as part of that initiative. This year or going into next year, we're also refreshing all the devices with grades 5 through 8. So their devices now are about 4 years old. We're going to go into a new lease cycle. So the students and the teachers in those grades will all get new devices. And actually going into next year, all of the devices the students have are going to be all up to date. They're going to be less than 4 years old across the district, which is fantastic. We're also applying for some additional federal money through the Emergency Connectivity Fund through E-rate to be able to buy another 600 devices for elementary students as well, to fill in some additional devices and upgrade devices that are reaching the end of life, which is great.
And then you know how I like to plant forethought of finances. In 4 years from there, we'll probably be looking at asking to add a third lease-to-own payment to the budget. So right now we have one lease-to-own that's for devices 5 through 8, one that's for devices for grades 9 through 12, and then like Jim's saying, we're going to use the connectivity / some of the emergency funding we got last year to refresh the elementary devices. But then if we added one more lease-to-own payment in there, and this is all predicated on interest rates staying reasonable, because if they don't, then we might roll all 3-year lease-to-owns and replace them on a different type of cycle. But then really having those 3 chunks, that way we always have devices that aren't more than 4 years old in the district to make sure that we're staying up on technology. Sorry, just putting it a plug.
That's okay. So set your calendars. In a few years, I'll be back to talk about that. This is just a little snapshot in time. Obviously, with technology, one of the things that we do is we're here to help and support the teachers and the students. We also upgraded our help desk to be able to be a little more efficient with how we're supporting our teachers and students. And one of the nice things is, we're making it easier for people to reach out to support, whether it's via an email or filling out a form. It creates a ticket. Everybody on the technology team can see it. Whoever needs help can jump right in. So it makes things a lot more transparent, which is great. This is just a little snapshot in time of just some of the help desk tickets that we've received from July 1st to date. As you can see, the big number is around September when school year starts, and everybody's in a panic to get the school year going, but we were there to help and support whatever it takes. One of the other initiatives around student safety is we joined the National Student Data Privacy Consortium. We're enrolled in the Massachusetts chapter, which is run by an organization here in Massachusetts, to be able to negotiate and sign data privacy agreements with all of our different software vendors that we work with that may need access or that are used, different pieces of software that are used in the classroom. So this is an additional step to make sure that we work with our software vendors to make sure that we're compliant, we protect all of our student information, and that we put ourselves in a good place, to protect our students and set the example for other districts as well. Right now, we actually have 35 active agreements with 35 different software vendors that we use in the district, which is fantastic. And the benefit of being part of this consortium is that we can actually access other privacy agreements that, other members have already signed with other school districts. And if they haven't, then we can actually reach out to the consortium's legal team, and they actually are able to negotiate the data privacy agreements on our behalf, which is a huge cost savings to the district as well as time savings as well. And then the last thing I wanted to mention is to talk about some of the audiovisual upgrades that we're doing. As part of the new Smith School and the learning spaces, instead of using more typical or standard LCD projectors, we did go with clear touch boards. So those are interactive touch displays. They're on actually a rolling cart, which is nice, so that there's really no more of the necessity of the teaching wall. There's more flexible learning space, and the teacher can wheel it frankly wherever they want in the classroom and teach right from the board. The interactive boards actually have 20 points of touch, so there's a lot of interaction between teachers and students, which is nice. So far, we've actually rolled out these boards to about 45% of our elementary classrooms now, which is great. We're trying to add a few more every year through the funding on our technology warrant article. This summer, we're going to plan to replace more of the older failing projectors, smart boards, with clear touch boards at the elementary level. We're also working at upgrading some of the projectors here at the high school. We still have some of the original ones from the building project that are now aging out at 10, 12 years old. So we're trying to get those upgraded and replaced. And we're also looking to do the same thing at the middle school, and they're starting to pilot the clear touch board as well. So that was probably like 8 minutes.
I promised I wouldn't do this to Jim anymore, but I'm still going to refer to him as the new technology director for one more time. So Jim's been on board for a little over a year, 15, 16 months now, and has really just done a great job hitting the ground running and really taking on a whole bunch of various projects and really trying to take us to the next level. So I just want to say a thank you to him. He doesn't bat an eye anytime I pick up the phone and with one of my requests of, what do you think about this? And so it's been nice to see that department continue to grow under Jim's leadership. So thank you.
So questions from the committee? Gabe, if you're up, if you'd like. No, you good? Okay.
Question on the some of the more, I guess I'd say, advanced technology. So students have Chromebooks. I mean, a lot can use the Apple devices or whatever. I mean, there used to be computer labs, obviously, in high school where they could do more advanced programming and things like that. Is that still what we would use for advanced programming there, or do students use a Chromebook, or since everything's in the cloud now, what's kind of the path forward to advance some of those skills?
Sure. So there are a lot of things now that are they're web-based that can be done on Chromebooks. However, for some of the more specialized things, like for example the CAD, the computer-aided design, or some of the visual design things as well, we do still have a few labs here at the high school. We have a Mac lab that's designed specifically to do the Adobe products that are the more higher-end processing power, and the same with the lab for the computer-aided design, which we are in the process of upgrading now as well because of the horsepower required for some of those tools. We want to make sure that we can still run the latest and greatest, and students can learn with that. So we're working through a process of upgrading those. So we certainly don't have as many labs across the district as we used to. There used to be at least one in every building, but certainly here at the high school, we do still have a few of the specialized labs for purposes like that, the music lab as well.
So some school districts will have, like Apple, for example, buy your own, Apple, your device, or a Lenovo or whatever. If you're heavy data, then Lenovo's probably better. But I mean, we're probably not, have never really considered going down. We seem to be going down the Chromebook route. If a student has their own, an Apple device or Lenovo, or do they have the capability to learn some of those advanced things that a Chromebook can't do, or do they have to use one of the labs here?
They are, right. So yes, we have the ability to put student devices onto our guest network. So right, a student could bring that in and we could put it onto the network. The labs do, right? Like the labs have those devices.
Yeah.
So they would be looking to purchase similar software that we use for them to do that. For us, I think the Chromebook decision has really been one about equity. And so asking students to bring their own device presents challenges for certain families. That's really one of the reasons why we went with the Chromebook option. And then it gives consistency of experience for teachers as well, because students are using a similar device. But we do open up opportunities if students have their own device that they prefer to use for some of that. But it wouldn't limit their ability because they don't have one of those devices to take a class. So if you're in TV production, you have access to the desktops in the TV production lab to make sure you can do what you need to be.
Yeah, that's where I was kind of going with the 1 and 2, and I won't mention Essex Tech because I don't know what they have in terms of their technology, but I just want to make sure, our students have an ability to go as high as they can in computer programming, data analysis, and I know a lot of it's college stuff, but to do that if they wanted to, and we have an ability to offer these courses at some point, and so we have the technology to do that. It sounds like they
It's always asking for money.
Devices,
especially in the middle school and high school, right? That's where we get into the specialty in the CAD labs and through the 3D printing. And so, yes, we make sure those resources are available to offer those courses to our students.
All right, good, thanks. That's it.
Alex.
I have a middle schooler, and I think this is his second Chromebook that he's going through. Can you talk to, I guess, kind of what Jeff was getting at, like the quality of the Chromebooks that the students?
Do you know, like in Kanto, how they say we don't talk about Bruno? We don't talk about middle school Chromebooks.
I was just sitting here waiting.
Jim, because Jim is inheriting those. That would be a device that was purchased that did not have the durability or shelf life that it should have. It's not a great device. We recognize that.
Okay.
I think the device we have at the high school now is of better quality, and we are working on, again, focusing on durability and functionality in the middle school Chromebooks that Jim's evaluating now to make the next purchase a better purchase. It's a bad batch.
It is, and it's unfortunate. And so we've been testing new devices for actually about a year now. Knowing this is coming. So we've identified a device that's a little physically is more rugged, but it does have more horsepower. It's just all around. It's a much better device. It's still affordable, which is good. So we can still lease it. So we're still well within our where we need to be. But it's over the year now. It's really last test of time, which is unfortunately a lot better than what some.
I think a lot of middle schoolers will be happy to hear that.
It's been even the year that I've been here. It's been a struggle, unfortunately, and they're just mechanical defects really with the device. And a manufacturer who I won't name on camera that has been less than responsible.
See, it's been bad enough that it's led us to actually become non-insurable through some of our insurance vendors because our claim rate is so high because the durability has been so low.
400%.
So it is something that we.
Yeah, and I think that's like my son had to get a new laptop right before MCAS, so it just puts that added pressure on them of now dealing with the new borrowed laptop and and I appreciated you making that comment earlier about getting it in the hands of kids before MCAS because it's just an added stress to them when they're trying to take things online and then having issues with their Chromebook.
And I will make a plug now to all parents. Like, if you're having issues with your Chromebook, please bring it in.
Well, I was just
going
to
say, warranties,
right?
We have insurance policies. Please come and get them fixed. Don't let your kid hold on to them. We have
Yeah.
loaners that your kid gets another.
Well,
device
you
while we
don't
wait for the other
always have loaners available, so
Not at
that's
the
the other
middle
issue.
Back to the same thing.
So like some of these kids are sent away without a computer to borrow computers from teachers. So
And again, right, so that's why we want to encourage that when it breaks, bring it in and don't wait for midterms. Don't wait for MCAS. Don't wait till summer's coming because we see these cyclical cycles of like these milestone events, and then we find out that we have 75 that need to be fixed when some of them have been broken since October, right? And the kid has just been putting up with it.
Yeah.
But the more that we can get a regular rotation, the more it helps us keep devices and have enough.
Yeah. So no, and Barbie at the middle school is always very helpful. I have a question about the elementary schools and equity for the technology in the classrooms. You made a point in 45% of K through 5 classrooms district-wide will have upgrades.
Mm-hmm.
Is the goal to get at 100%?
Yes. So
and by when, I guess, is the question.
So we're probably to get to put a clear touch board in every elementary classroom. We're probably 2 years out, 2 to 3 years. We're purchasing the upgraded devices through our technology warrant that we get through town meeting. So we try to evenly divide that through that money for the middle school, high schools, and the elementary schools. So the way that we've been upgrading the classrooms is we've been trying to do it by grade level. So this year we made sure that all of grade 3 has the same tools for their learning. So that makes it easier for the teachers to plan. It makes it easier for the curriculum department to work with them to support that. So we're ensuring that each grade level, as we continue to outfit them, has the same, similar, but still the latest and greatest technology that we can make available in their classrooms.
Okay.
we're also trying to pair them with laptop computers when we get them for teachers because the power is the mobility. So we really need to get the laptops that they can push it into the hall or put it on whatever wall that they want to do it. Broadcast to it via Bluetooth. So it adds an expense to it, which is causes to a little bit slower than we would have potentially liked. But I think for teachers that the technology is powerful and that it's worth making the commitment.
And I'm always, as Keith mentioned, I'm always looking for more money. So I'm not always trying to pick Keith up for money. I am looking for grants and things like that. So with any luck, maybe, we can, if we find a grant or some funding, we can speed that process up.
And then I noticed the only thing that you have in the high school is projector upgrades. Does that mean that you feel like the high school is up to standards when it comes to technology? Or again, are you always looking for money?
Well, I'm always looking for money. I won't deny that. But no, at this point, the two focuses that we're looking at the high school right now are to replace a lot of the projectors that are certainly well past their useful life, and also the desktop computers in some of those classrooms. We were able to, through the Chromebook initiative, that we gave every teacher a 14-inch Chromebook. The touchscreen, actually the same ones that you guys have. So that part was good. So we're trying to try to make some of these upgrades so that no classroom falls, frankly, too far behind. But we want to make sure that we're, trying to hit these classrooms equitably as well. So right now we're focusing on projector replacements, but in the next, probably year, I'll also be talking to Mr. Federico about doing a pilot of some of the clear touch boards and think about how we can use those at high school level as well. So there'll probably be a little mix and match of that as well, if that makes sense.
And then my last question, are you responsible for the Danvers Public Schools website? Does that fall under, you have a smile?
Well, it's a shared responsibility, but yes, I suppose that's technology. I'll
say that there'll be more to come
Okay.
over the next few months about the website.
Yeah.
Including either working with our current vendor, looking at what the support is to update and continually update, and or partner with the town on a new website that they're looking at through
That's what I was hoping
ARPA
for.
funding. So I just don't want Jim to dive too deep into it because we don't know the exact direction, but it's definitely at the forefront of the conversations right now.
Okay, good. Yeah, because I think, feedback from us and the community has just been there just is an improvement that is needed for the website in terms of the sharing of communication, where information is stored, the ease of getting it, and that kind of stuff. So,
like at the central office level, about the support that is needed for that, along with ensuring
yeah, it's
that we're
not
having
easy.
a welcoming environment for students when they come to register.
Yeah.
So we have some ideas about what kind of it could look like at the central office level.
Yep. I mean, I just discovered the app.
Oh.
It's a good.
Okay, that's a good no, but that's good. That's good information.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you.
I just have one question. So for the help desk piece, is there an opportunity for like high school or middle school kids to, I don't know what you would call it, but almost like they have a free period a day where it's like school coach career, but like they can help with help desk? I didn't know if that was.
So we don't have it's certainly an idea that we can pursue. We don't have a full year-round program. However, we do have two high school seniors working with us right now as part of the high school internship program.
Okay.
Who actually started with us this week, and they've been great.
Okay.
So it's definitely something I'd be interested in. So.
Like I don't like the term, but like almost like I don't know if it's by quarter semester, but like a geek squad. But like I don't like that term because like yeah, but like something on hands, like okay, I know there's kids, I don't know, whatever, like in the library having a problem with my computer period 3, even if it's a teacher. Because I know it's hard, like, your department spread thing. I don't know, it's just a thought. If you have kids who are really invested.
We tried that a few years ago, and there just wasn't the student interest that we thought
it's too
there would
bad.
be. But it's something that we could explore
Okay.
again. Mr. Federico.
Just thinking of marketing for Mr. Federico.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
That's it. That's
Okay.
all.
I actually kind of piggybacking on Robin's. 4,854 help desk requests seems like a lot. How does your department handle that? How many people can you throw at this?
We walk.
3/4 of them are printing. So Jim and I do.
Oh.
3/4 of them are printing. We've had some printing issues
Paper jams?
this year.
Oh,
Mobile connectivity between 4,000 devices, right, from every single device and the printers, and working with third-party vendors and our staff and on that integration. So we actually had this exact conversation before we put it together. Are you sure that's a good stat, Jim? We don't want that many tickets. But really, it's a lot of that has been around that. So we've been working with the vendor. Jim and his team actually kind of tore it down to the studs and rebuilt it.
Okay.
And the printing's been better
Yes.
since.
Which actually, if you look at the stats there, the numbers have gone down with requests and issues. So I guess that's a good thing. We'll take it. Take that unofficial trend right there.
All right, cool. Sounds like you're always looking for money, which was like,
Yeah.
but no, we appreciate the job you're doing. It's funny how much we were so amazed by the technology the first time we had a smart board at the middle school, and now all of the things, and I think we foresaw this, the things we thought were, wow, amazing, new. They're still amazing, but it's now become, it's something you have to have in classrooms, you have to have in schools in order to keep up with what's going on. And we want to send our kids out into the world with a real facility for technology. So I think we're always on that path, and that's good to hear. So thank you, Jim.
Thank you. And I'm always happy to be a resource. If anybody needs anything, please don't hesitate to reach out.
As long as we can get Gabe his own laptop. You got one? Okay. There you go. All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Next up.
Final presentation for tonight is around our strategic plan presentation. So we've been doing a lot of the safe and supportive learning community presentations since January. And as Violetta pointed out earlier, that a lot of the elementary schools have been here to really, show us what that really looks like in action. And every presentation we have, we use this graphic of the engaged student as a student that is seen, valued, and heard, and that it really fits into that everyone has a sense of belonging. So then we have part of our vision statement about the inclusive community of learners, and so that I feel like those presentations for the last few months have really highlighted that. But today we're taking another part of our vision statement, which is the engaged student. It really talks about what it looks like academically, so that all students are fully engaged and invested in their learning. They demonstrate personal responsibility and are achieving to their maximum capability, and they are skilled communicators and problem solvers who engage in collaborative inquiry, make effective use of technology, and apply their learning in authentic real-life situations. So, leaving the April meeting, I knew this was the top of a conversation, and I was thinking about a presentation. And then after vacation, I was invited to go to watch a Project Citizen presentation, and we have some Danvers High students from that presentation. And when I was just wowed by their presentation, and I just they were the picture of the engaged students. So I really want to thank them so much for coming tonight to present their project. So they're going to really bring forward to you what an engaged student is, and you're going to really get that from their presentation. But I just wanted to set up quickly for you that, when we're looking at student engagement, when we set out in the strategic plan, we kind of had a few things that we were looking at, that we were trying to have student-centered curriculums where kids are really involved in doing the work and making sense of the information from themselves, instead of the old vision of the teacher in front of the classroom at the board being the ones imparting learning on the students, that the students are actively engaged in doing the learning themselves, and the teacher more of a facilitator. We also were looking at the multi-tier system of support and making sure all kids could learn, and if kids were struggling in their learning, and we are using formative assessments to kind of find out if kids are struggling or if they are meeting standards, that if they're not, what are we doing to help them and make sure that they are engaged in their learning. We're really looking for student ownership of their learning. And if you look on the side here, we have a graphic of the different levels of engagement. It's going down from rebellion or passive compliance, all the way up to authentic engagement. And what we're seeing in our students is that we really do end up in that compliance phase often in school, that we are doing it because it's what we're supposed to do, or we don't want to fail, so we're here to pass, or we're doing it only to get a good grade and get all good grades. So we're really looking for that top level, which is authentic engagement. So I thought that we would use the civics projects as a visual for what that engagement looks like and what authentic engagement looks like. So the state of Massachusetts has required us, all school districts in the middle school level, 8th grade, and high school, that all kids must participate in one civics project, each of their levels. And they put together these kind of goals for those projects. So as you see on the left side, it's a lot about civics, but if you look on the right side, it's about the other like lifelong learning skills that you get from participating in a project like this. At Holt Richmond in January, we had a student that came and presented to you about the civics projects that they're doing and what happened in the past, and they're just coming into that season now. It's coming into that. And we really want to thank Jen Breaker and Steve Bartha. They were at Holt Richmond last week to do the Holt Richmond version of Citizens Academy. So they're really bringing to life what town government is for the students. I think Rodney is coming to do the budget this week, so they're really getting a great view of what town government looks like and how it operates. And then I also want to thank Jen Breaker because she put together this great resource. This is just one page of like a 3-page document that she put together with lots of ideas and resources for civic projects that could happen throughout the town, and the town person in that town department to email if you want to reach out and do those. So the 8th grade civics teachers are starting to do the planning of those projects with kids this week, and then hopefully settling in on some ideas for the projects for next week, which they'll work on through June. So that's just a little quick update on Holt Richmond, but the real thing is Project Citizen. I want to invite Adam Federico and Peter DeMaro and John White up first to set the stage for this project, and then we will have the students come up.
Hello. So I'm very excited and honored to briefly introduce students from Mr. White's Project Citizen class. I'll be brief because I really think hearing it from the students is so impressive and amazing. I just wanted to provide an overview of what is laid out in the program of studies about the Project Citizen course before they get into the more specifics of their project. So it says featuring a combination English and civics focus with an emphasis on how local government works to serve citizens. This course encourages students to explore the thinking, rhetoric, and policy on current issues that matter to them. Students build an understanding of diverse perspectives, who the public policy decision makers are, and how they craft policy. After identifying a problematic local policy they would like change, students research the topic, consider alternative policies and options, and develop a persuasive proposal and action plan to present. The goal is for students to learn how to be the change they would like to see in the world. So in April, right before April vacation, myself, Mr. Federico, Ms. Wormers, Mr. Taverna, other community members were invited to learn more and see the students present about their projects. I think I would speak for everyone in the room to say that it was impressive to see the passion, collaboration, engagement that students put into their projects in the class. So I'm so glad that you'll be able to see that directly from them tonight. So without further ado, I'd like to invite up Mr. White, students from the class, to introduce themselves and share a little more.
Thank you so much for having us here tonight. So the group I have with me, my name is John White. I am an English teacher here at Danvers High School, and about 3 or 4 years ago, I think the English department began offering the seniors a chance to choose an elective for their senior English class. And one of those was Project Citizen, which a former colleague, Kathy Lindquist, who's retired, brought to Danvers High School. This is my first year teaching it. And I have, it is a departure, as Ms. Wormer said, from kind of the traditional way of approaching the classroom. You have to relinquish a lot of control, which is tough for a teacher. But this group has been a really, really great group for me to go through with this. I have with me tonight Caleb and Connor and Christina and Kendra. And then breaking our alliterative streak here is Brendan. So we have them, and they're going to be the ones who will tell you kind of what they've been doing over the course of the year. It's their project. It has been one where I've had to stand back and let the process kind of happen. And a lot of the training that I've done is about the learning actually happens in the process. So I'm going to let them tell you about that.
Hi, I'm Caleb Braceley. I know Mr. Morrow kind of just went over what our class is, but Project Citizen is just like a project-based class where we studied the local and state governments and how they worked. We also like looked at different problems in our town that we could get involved with, like how we could make like an impact in our town rather than just like doing what a normal English class would do. And along with learning like public public policy and like how the government worked, Mr. White also like sprinkled in some like more traditional style English learning, like preparing our college essays in the beginning of the year, and then also like different essays throughout the year and reading comprehension. Hello, my name is Connor Horn, and so when we first started to look at the Project Citizen aspect of our class, we thought of three different projects that we could potentially work on. The first one was changing our school's curriculum, like having a more variety of classes. The second one was having better recycling outlets in our school. And then the third one I thought of when my mom told me how the Danvers train station was going to be destroyed. I thought of bringing that to the class. And when I first introduced the idea, the whole class laughed. And it took a couple weeks. And after a lot of convincing, we took a final vote, and the whole class was on board uh, trying to save the train station.
Hi, I'm Kendra Cohn. We originally wanted to find a private buyer to buy the station and possibly turn it into a restaurant. We looked at many land options where the train station could go, and we even researched grants along our way. Once we spoke to many town representatives, it was kind of brought to our attention that moving the station was going to cost millions of dollars. So we started researching alternative projects that we could do with the same train station and how we could save it.
Hello, everyone. My name is Brendan Whalen, and moving forward, we plan to tour the train station and present our plan to the Preservation Commission this Thursday. If our plan is approved, we're going to take wood from the train station, so next year our manufacturing and design classes can use it to create tables as relics. Once those are complete, we plan to donate one to Townsend Oil because the train station's on their property, and then another to Danvers.
Hi, I'm Christina Sumis, and classes like Project Citizen are a great opportunity to build teamwork and group skills. And throughout the course, we were able to develop a bunch of different voices into just one project, which was really awesome. I also felt I was more engaged in a project-based class and always found myself looking forward to attending Project Citizen. Each day was something new to focus on, and as a group, we were able to research our town history, which was very interesting and overall beneficial because we were able to see what steps it takes to act in local government.
And the civics education continues tonight as they attend this meeting. And as Brendan said, they're going to be meeting with Townsend representatives, Brooks Townsend, on Thursday. We have a tour of the station. And the goal is to take some of that interior wood, if it is not going to be saved, in as Jim Townsend says, a Hail Mary kind of, last hope that something would result in it being saved. But if not, we're hoping to be able to change the current bylaw, which would indicate that, or that indicates that it cannot be touched until July 1st. We're hoping before July to go in and begin to pull out some of the wood for that manufacturing class to use at the high school. So this group will be presenting to the Preservation Commission Thursday, in addition to being here tonight. So I'm grateful they have their AP exams, they have their senior internships right now, and they're done with the course, but they're here tonight and they're going to be there on Thursday. So I'm grateful to them, and any questions you have, they'd be happy to answer.
Questions from the committee?
Does this encourage you to pursue, any formal education in government, or to pursue any government roles?
Yeah.
It was cool learning, like doing something different than this class. Like, I don't really know what I want to do yet. I'm older, but this class is like really opened my eyes to the possibilities of taking that business, but everywhere I can take that too. But this class really wanted to, yeah, I could see
Yeah, you picked a real easy, simple town project. Been reading about this for what seems like
10 years.
at least 10 years. Every time you're on the rail trail, you walk by it and it's beautiful. And I love architecture and I look at it and everybody does the same thing. Like, there's got to be a way to save this thing. There's got to be, right? You can just move it. Can't you just roll it across the street, put up an ice cream parlor? And I've read all these articles and it is tough to do that. So I commend you for doing that. What's one or two big takeaways that you had? Because to me, the issue is, government preservation, the public good. There has to be something that weighs, and it happens not just with this, but a lot of other historic structures. But it sounds like you've talked to business owners who have this, and you have to be pragmatic in some of the ways. But what have you learned? What are one or two of the biggest takeaways you have in those interactions between business and government to try to get some of this solved?
Present this to maybe just a few groups of people, and then maybe it would happen. But we've also spoken to so many people in our town that we don't even, I didn't know most of these people that we were speaking with. So getting to know that like they have also been a part of like trying to save the station was also really, there was definitely a lot more people that were for this project. We talked to but to see what everything
It's just lasted about 20 years. Yeah. Yeah. It's a great solution. I mean, it's you've condensed, 10, 15, 20 years of this into, it might not be a perfect, solution that satisfies everybody, but it's going to get the main themes of what people are looking for, which is some sort of historic preservation. So the whole thing isn't being torn down, but you can salvage some of it. That's a great solution and a compromise. And I think, that's what I'm taking out of it as far as what you said. So thank you. Thank you for doing that.
I'd like to know more how you convinced the class to take on this project.
Well, so I kind of guilt tripped. So my nana used to live by the rail trail, and the train used to go by her house. So I kind of was just like it's kind of nostalgic. Like my nana used to see the train go by all the time. Like it's part of our history, and it took a while. But yeah, so we had a vote at the end, and for all three of those, and every single person voted for the train station.
It's just good to see that your generation caring about preservation of a very old train station. So I appreciate that. And I think you brought up the good point about having more project-based classes and, even for Mary and the curriculum team to take that into consideration as well as curriculums are developed. And I've been saying this, like, I don't know why we have to start this at the 8th grade. Like, I wish we could start this earlier, even in 5th grade. But I'd love to see more of our students involved in civics units and involved more in the town. Like this team was talking about just being able to know more about the history of Danvers and the government. I think it's just a learning opportunity. But thank you all for presenting to us and for just doing a really good job of bringing this even further to everyone's attention in town.
Thank you. It was nice to see your passion really come out, because I think we often think, you know, you're learning all the skills of a traditional English class, but also just how to be active, an active citizen in your community. And that's really, at the end of the day, one of the main things that matters. But also, it's a skill you have to learn. And sometimes we don't always learn that in school. So it's nice you folks have that opportunity and that this class is available. So thank you.
As a soon-to-be old man, I can tell you that one of the important things in life is to, from time to time, and maybe a lot, try and devote some time and effort to something that's bigger than your daily life, that's important, that maybe is something sort of like, what is the value of that train station? It has architectural value. It reminds us of the history of Danvers. A lot of people might say, well, preserving it doesn't matter. It's just an old building. But it speaks to our history. It speaks to the way we lived our lives 100 years ago. And caring about something bigger than yourself and working on projects like this, it's good for the soul, for one thing, and good for a fully lived life. The other thing is, I will guarantee you, there's no better way to learn about how the real world works in a practical sense, because to take on a project like this, and this was a real thing, it has been going on for 20 years, and a number of groups have tried to come up with solutions. And you probably discovered that there were all sorts of different people with different interests and concern about what it would cost to do this. And people might say it's a great idea, but we don't want the town to have the responsibility to rehab this, move it, pay for its upkeep for years. Could it work as a private business? And then you're trying to figure out, how that could work. You ran into all of the things you run into in real life when you're trying to get a big project done. So aside from the fact that it sounds like a really interesting elective, you picked a really difficult project with real world implications for people who care. And just doing that, you've learned more than you know you've learned today. This will serve you in the future. So thank you for being here. Thank you for working on this. And you were all great. Thank you.
Thanks.
Mr. White, thanks for leading
Thank you.
this.
Thank you, sir.
All right, we are on to item D, right? On the information from the superintendent.
So we're happy to announce, pending any snowstorm that may still come, that the last day of school for this year will be June 23rd, 2022.
Thank you. And now we are on to new business. So we have a discussion and potential votes regarding the central office administrative positions. We'll, tee this up. As many of you know, right now a lot of things are in flux. We're looking for a business manager. We are looking for a human resources professional. We have a superintendent search going on, and we also have to, basically work on the structure for this year going forward. We've made progress on all fronts. The first thing I think I'd like to do is to hear from the superintendent search committee, if that's okay.
Oh, sure.
I can delay it if you want.
No, I would like
I'd
to.
love to hear from
So,
you.
yeah, so I was eager to volunteer to lead up the subcommittee for the superintendent search, which I think is most likely going to be a very definitive search in how we define our district over the next several years. So we've had some really positive conversations regarding candidates in the terms of pools, what to look for. So hopefully starting next month, we'll have further follow-up in terms of potential consultants that we'll be bringing on board to support us in the search. And I want to make a point that we are looking for community feedback, and we'll hopefully include surveys, focus groups, and that type of thing, so that we can get community as well as teachers, administration involved in this as well.
And I just to add, I've had a couple people reach out and say, "Oh, I want to be on the search," and I'm like, "Okay, there is no search yet. Like we will notify people when that time has come." So I appreciate the eagerness. That there's nothing new to report as far as that goes yet. So the very preliminary stages.
Okay, and I take it you will keep us posted as you progress. And, it's a big task, and we thank you for taking that on. So the second item is, okay, so what will we do in the interim? And I believe we can have a motion and some discussion on that. Would anyone care to make a motion regarding the interim superintendency?
I'll make a motion to continue to have Mary Wormers as the interim acting superintendent.
Move her to interim.
Yes.
Okay.
No. Appoint her to interim acting.
Okay. Would you be willing to correct that just to be interim superintendent?
Interim superintendent.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. And then is there discussion? I mean, obviously, this is something we talked about at, we've talked about this as, okay, what could the plan be going forward? And it's a subject for, frankly, for executive session. But I think we have every confidence, Mary, that you are the right person to take us forward for the, we're looking at probably the next year, could be less, but we appreciate what you've done for the district, in your career here. And you have stepped into the role, you and Keith, as the leader of this district. And since Keith announced that he was moving on, I know you've taken on more. And we received some favorable feedback from the community, and we're pleased, that you're willing to take this position and go forward and lead this district into its. And I know you've said you're committed to helping us make that next transition period. We really appreciate that. So, do you have any comments, Mary? Anything you want to say?
I just want to thank you for your confidence in me and helping just bridge the gap as you look for the next superintendent. I look forward to leading the district through that phase and really kind of solidifying, like building that foundation so that the next superintendent that comes in is ready to go on day one.
Thank you.
Is there any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Carries. Okay. Now we should talk about salary. Do we have a motion on salary for the position of interim superintendent?
So I would like to make the motion to pay Mary Wormers as interim superintendent a sum of $190,000.
And that would be on the school year basis.
So starting July
1st.
Yeah.
We've agreed that it would be acting superintendent till July 1st. Then you'll assume the interim superintendency, and that's with the new fiscal year. And that salary will take us through the school year. And so let's first of all, let's take a vote on the salary. Is there a discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I'd like a vote, if we could, of the committee to allow me to work with our school attorney and with Mary to work out specific language in the contract and eventualities if in fact we found someone earlier. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, I appreciate that. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Thank you. And, we'll get it all done. We'll go from there. Let's see. And I think, did you mention earlier the interview process is ongoing for the other two positions? And more to come on that. We'll let you know where we go with that. But I'm optimistic we're going to have a good central office team in place ready for the next school year. So that's good to know. The other item, I suppose, that falls under this category is that this is Keith Taverna's last meeting with us as assistant superintendent, co-acting superintendent, chief cook and bottle washer, operations, HR, all the many things that you've done and have continued to do for us. And what I find interesting is seeing, even though you announced what a couple of months ago, anyway, March maybe, that you have remained extraordinarily engaged in and committed to the district. And your enthusiasm, your continued engagement has meant a lot to us as we've gone through this time. As has your 12 years with us now, is it just 12?
Going on 13, yes.
Well, there you go. We're going to miss you. And your new district is really gaining, I think, a special person. So, other comments from the committee?
No, thank you, Keith. I mean, I was happy I got to know you over the last year, and I wish you nothing but success in your new position in your new district.
Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, I'll just say any question that I've had for Keith, and you know, a lot we talk about finance and stuff here, but you know, the Smith School, the buildings, you know, high school renovations, just anything that we've had come up, you know, Keith has an understanding not just of the high level, but the background behind it, so we can go a couple levels deeper to really understand the issues. And so, you know, I know the comments that have come from the community over the years have, you know, many times been quite pointed on why are we paying for this? Can't we afford this? Why can't we do this? I mean, you think the train station is tough. Try, you know, funding some of these with schools, and it's very difficult. So, you know, I think that level of professionalism and, you know, humor and being able to deal with a lot of this is just been a fantastic skill. So thank you very much, and best of luck.
Thank you, and thank you for your support throughout all of the years. It really has been a privilege to work on behalf of the district and the students and the staff and the families, and you know, definitely the Danvers, and just ready to take this next challenge in my career and see where it leads me. But thank you, I really appreciate the support over all of the years. It's been a privilege.
Thank you, Keith. All right, let's see. North Shore Educational Consortium Board Member appointment. Keith has been, I think, serving on that role since Dr. Dana went on leave, and now with Keith's departing, we'll need to appoint a new representative to the consortium, Special Education Consortium. I believe it's in Beverly, right? That serves the whole North Shore with special education programs. And I take it you are recommending that that Mary take over that role?
Yes, she would, and as the interim superintendent or the superintendent, simply the position that the superintendent serves on.
Okay.
My representative to their monthly meetings, and Danvers also served on the finance subcommittee for the board, so she'll get to fill.
If anyone has a motion to make to that effect, I take it down.
So I'd like to motion to appoint Mary Warmers, acting co-superintendent, as board member to represent Danvers beginning June 1st, 2022.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there a discussion? These are monthly meetings, right? So it's not an inordinate amount of time. And, okay, with that, if there's no other discussion, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Great. Next item, the resolution in support of reinvestment in Danvers Public Schools. We were basically going to endorse whatever the selectmen that they had talked about. If their motion or their resolution ended up being tabled, I believe. And we're going to do the same thing since we were sort of following suit in what they were going to be doing. So unless they have a resolution that is firm, then for us to vote on the resolution, we don't want to vote on two different resolutions. So it's important that everybody has an understanding about what we're talking about. So we'll be tabling that one as well.
Does that mean we're talking about it next month, or?
We'll have to see what the next step is at the selectmen's level.
Okay.
It's possible. I don't quite know what they're going to do. I'm not sure they know exactly what they're going to do.
Well, by that time, then the town meeting would have happened and there would have been a vote on that, correct?
Well, here's the thing. The resolution was not about capping the number of students at the tech. The resolution was if that town meeting voted favorably,
Right.
that we would commit to putting the money back into the selectmen, and we would commit to putting any returned money back into the students. And we can make that motion at any point in time or adopt that resolution. But, it will depend on what town meeting does. We have no unfinished business. We're on to the order of business. So the consent agenda, which includes homeschool requests, fundraising requests, field trip requests, and acceptance of donations, which I don't think we have any this month. Gabe, by way of just sort of information to you, the consent agenda is sort of pro forma items. The parents have a right to homeschool, and so we really, once they're approved by the superintendent, we really can't really say no or ask individual questions about the reports. Fundraising requests, field trip requests are pretty pro forma, but what we do is we put them on one agenda item, and then we can ask questions about any of the particular items that make up any of those requests. So I would accept a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Does anyone have any questions about any of the items on the consent agenda?
I guess my question is for Keith and Mary. I mean, we're allowed to take field trips, correct? Schools. So I think parents are looking for field trips for their students towards the end of the year. So it's kind of disheartening that there aren't any, except to Costa Rica, which I'll take a field trip to Costa Rica. So I want to make sure that as a community, it's vocalized that I think a lot of parents were frustrated that there was no field trips this year.
We could definitely talk to the principals about that desire. I would just like to highlight that in this portion of the agenda, you would only see out of state or overnight.
Okay.
So local field trips that are just day trips,
They
those
won't
just
be in
operate
this
with
agenda.
individual
Okay.
permission slips. So we do
Okay.
have field trips
Perfect.
that are
That
occurring
helps.
over the course of the spring. And we could be happy to share about that at the future meetings.
All right, good.
I should have clarified that. I'm sorry. Minutes.
Okay,
Here you go. This is
here,
your
this
moment.
is my moment. The secretary moves to approve and release the minutes from the April 11th, 2022 regular meeting and approve but not release the April 11th, 2022 executive session.
That was perfect. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none. Communications.
Linked, as we discussed last month, is the FY23 approved budget for the consortium. There was some great conversation amongst the superintendents who serve as the school committee essentially to the consortium about the budget and ensuring that it was somewhat in line with what districts are getting and not a larger percentage and in line with Proposition 2.5. So I'd just like to thank the consortium and their team for really being receptive to those conversations, even if it meant they might not get all of the funding like they want, like we don't get every year. They're really receptive to that, really just being part of that process and being a team player with it. So just thank you to them and finance team.
It's always a matter of balance in terms of what we can do and what we want to do and trying to find that right sweet spot. So thank you, Keith. Legislation is me. I have nothing new to report. I know that the state senator was with us last week, and last month rather, and brought us up to speed. I don't think there have been any major developments since then, unless you consider sports gambling something major, but could be revenue. And let's see. Subcommittee liaison updates. Curriculum and assessment.
We don't have any.
Okay. Equity.
Yeah, we haven't had our meeting. When's our next meeting?
We've had 3 this week or so. That was our last meeting.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so same with the curriculum assessment. We had 3.
Okay. Good. Okay. Policy. I don't think we've had.
Can I ask a question? Is the handbook on this policy subcommittee? Is that where we talk about? I'm just asking. I'm not sure.
The handbooks typically come before us for approval every year, as opposed to the actual district policies, which kind of falls under
First
our-
reading in
Yeah.
June. And
June is the first reading of the
the
handbook.
second reading in August
Okay.
before the school year starts. And our administrative team is working on those. So I'd say you'll see a first draft in June and then open to what feedback you have, and then likely a series of changes as we continue to work through restorative justice and some of these other concepts before we get to the August meeting.
Perfect.
We'll highlight the changes year over year.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right. Deep.
That was Mr. Scarmus. I don't have any
Ooh.
updates.
Deep Breakfast of
The
Champions will be
on the 24th.
The
Yes.
24th.
What, 24th?
The 24th of May. The Deep Breakfast of Champions at 8:30.
Note to self, find someone to sit at deep. Okay.
Yep.
Danvers Cares.
So Danvers Cares, the meeting was on Monday, May 2nd, and there was a few presentations. One was from Nagley, where they discussed volunteering opportunities, some of the youth group meetings that they've had, leadership opportunities, and some of the offsite programs. The Teen Health and Safety Guide is going to be inserted in the Herald this week. So look for that. That's going to be very cool. And it's available online too. I don't know how people get a paper newspaper, but if you do, cool, it's going to be there. Light the Night Purple happened on May 4th. It was a fantastic event, at the Rotary Pavilion. So a lot of attendees there as well. So yeah.
Great. Thank you. CPAC. Anything from CPAC, Keith or Mary?
No new information from CPAC. They had their basic rights presentation in April.
Okay. Human rights and inclusion. I can report back that D. Giocco, who is the chair, he mentioned how impressed he has been seeing the things that in our recent school committee presentations, Mary, about the things that we're doing as part of our strategic plan to become a more equity-seeking district. And he just, is continually impressed by what he sees, and he told the entire committee that. So thanks to you for what you're doing, and we just have to stay the course. Let's see, budget.
Monthly budget report for April, you'll see a slight increase in the overall deficit at the end of the year, but that will be offset by a grant that we will receive for homeless and foster care transportation. So our expenses have exceeded the budget, but the reimbursement will come in and put us back into favorable standing by the end of the fiscal year.
Any questions? I had a question which is not exactly related. Where are we in terms of where our bus contract?
Our bus contract is in year 2 of 3. So we'll be entering into our last year. Next year will be our last year.
So we'll be negotiating a year.
Yes, and those bid specs have already been written to go out to bid and shared with the finance director. So we're all set up.
Thank you. And personnel.
Monthly report for April, mostly family medical leaves based on people having babies, which is exciting.
There you go. So it looks like that is it for our agenda. Unless I'm missing anything, I don't think I am. So our next meeting, our next regular school committee meeting will be the second Monday in June. And that's after graduation? No. Yes.
The Monday
okay.
after.
So what important dates coming up? We have town meeting is next Monday.
Third year at Danvers High School.
And that's going to be in the auditorium as opposed to the field house and stuff?
Yes.
That will kind of complete budget season, get us into the new fiscal year. And then the Thursday before graduation, we usually have awards night. Is that still scholarship night?
Mr. Crane, you'll also have the skull session for town meeting that the superintendent and the school committee chair attend,
Yes.
which will be this Thursday evening at 4 o'clock, this Thursday afternoon at 4.
Thank you for the reminder. I appreciate it.
Mr. Taverna, can you remind us what time graduation is? Is it in the morning still? 10 a.m. Okay. Thank you.
We are excited that we'll have what was the traditional project graduation. After graduation has been moved post-pandemic and everything, it will be taking place, Mr. Federico, the Thursday or the Thursday, June 9th. Right, so we have a kind of an all-day celebration of graduation practice, barbecue that we traditionally had, and then inflatables, obstacle courses, all of that fun.
We're back.
On Thursday the 9th before. Kind of look at post-COVID, what those end of the year celebrations look like for seniors. But excited that they get some trips and also get some time to celebrate with their peers here at school, get their yearbooks, all of those traditional end of the year activities.
Oh, I don't know. I'm missing any other important dates?
No, but the scholarship night is June 8th. Or June 8th is the scholarship night for seniors.
June 8th.
What?
June 8th.
What's June? Okay, scholarship day is June 8th. I don't know what the.
On your app.
There you go.
I can
There you
download
go.
this app.
We could ask Diane to put together a summary of end of year dates and email it to you.
Good to have.
Sometime tomorrow.
Okay. All right. So with that, Gabe, congratulations on your first meeting.
Welcome.
And we look forward to working with you. We'll try not to drive you too crazy. And we would, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
What was that?
I said any discussion. All right. Oh, you were scaring me a minute there, Gabe. All those in favor, please say aye.
All right.
Aye. Opposed, none. Carries. Good night.